Welcome back, everybody. We just had your homework assignment for object-oriented programming, where we had two geometric classes that were basically structured, and you just had to fill in a couple of lines in the attributes and methods part of that class object. Now for your challenge, it's going to be a little more freeform, and we're going to have you create a bank account object with a couple of attributes and a couple of methods, as well as some important special methods and self-checks. So let's go to the challenge notebook and explain what we expect you to do. Alright, so here I am at the repo, and this should be the same if you've downloaded the notes, but under the Object-Oriented Programming folder, you should be able to find the OOP challenge. And in this Object-Oriented Programming challenge, we're going to want you to create a bank account that has two attributes, an owner attribute and a balance attribute. And then there's going to be two methods for that attribute, deposit to deposit money to your bank account, and withdraw to withdraw money from your bank account. And as an added requirement, withdrawals may not exceed the available balance. So for this withdraw method, you're going to have some sort of if statement to check, are you drawing too much? So here, we basically only have class account and then pass. So this is a little more free form because it's going to be up to you to fill out the init method, the deposit method, the withdraw method, and then the owner and balance attributes. So once you instantiate the class with an owner, which is going to be a string, the name of the owner, and some current balance, so some initial balance for the account, you should be able to print out the object. Recall that there are special methods, specifically the str special method, that allows you to print out whatever you want when you call print on your object. So in this case, I have the account owner and the balance. You don't need to format your str method exactly like this, but you should be able to report back some useful information. Then you should also have the owner attribute, in this case the owner is Jose, and the balance attribute, in this case the current balance is $100. Then you can make a series of deposits and withdrawals. So the deposit 50, we deposit and actually add in $50 to the balance, so that should affect the current balance. And then we should be able to withdraw money, and we see withdrawal accepted, so we withdrew $75 from the balance. Now if you make a withdrawal that exceeds the available balance, in this case we try to withdraw 500, you should be able to see funds unavailable as the output. Okay, so that's your challenge for this object-oriented programming assignment. And I quickly want to touch upon this idea of being able to call methods that affect attributes. We haven't truly seen that yet, so I want to show you a very simple example. I'm going to create a class, and this is going to be a simple class, so I'm just calling it simple. And the init method, all we're going to do is say some value here. And we'll say self.value is equal to the value passed. And then I'm going to have a method called add to value. And this will be self. And then some amount. And what this does is it takes in the current value of self, or current self.value, and then it says self.value plus the amount. And this is something that we haven't really done before, because notice here, this method actually doesn't return anything. All it does is it takes the amount that's passed in, and then it adds it to the value. So this is kind of a hint of what you're going to need to do in your bank account class. So I'll say my object is equal to an instance of simple, and we'll say that the current value is 300. So when I call my object value attribute, I get back 300. You can kind of think of this as akin to the balance of the bank account class. And if I say my object and I call add to value, let's say add another 500 to my value, notice nothing is returned. Because all that's happening when you call this method is it takes in the amount you passed in. Here it's 500. It grabs your current value, notice the self call, adds the amount to it, and then reassigns self.value to reflect this change. So now when I call in my object value, it's 800. Okay, so that's basically the little example I wanted to show you of how you would actually grab a current attribute and then affect a change on it. And it's up to you if you want to print something like, we just added curly braces to your value, and then you could say something like .format amount. So if we rerun this, I would then get back an actual printed message here, just so I know that it's actually working. Okay, Best of luck on that challenge. Again, it's definitely more freeform because we want to push you to that next level where you're able to break down a concept into code. If you have any questions, feel free to post to the Q&A forums. In the next lecture, we'll go over an example solution. We'll see you there.